Have you ever woken in the dead of night, heart racing, spirit unsettled, and wondered if the silence in your room was hiding something more? Chosen one, heaven does not waste vision. And the dreams you think are random are in fact encrypted messages from the throne of God. Strange symbols, unspoken sentences, doors that do not exist in the physical realm. These are not figments of imagination, but divine codes meant to pierce the veil and expose what the natural eye cannot see. Type 777 inches. The comments, if you feel the weight of this confirmation. Because when you do, you're declaring that you are ready to decode heaven's midnight revelations. And to every soul who has stood with us, even through your super thanks, I cannot express enough how deeply grateful I am. You are fueling a movement of light against the darkness. But lean in closer. What if the dreams you've dismissed as fleeting shadows were actually blueprints for your destiny? What if every midnight stirring was God Himself pulling you into a realm where the unseen becomes undeniable? Tonight, we uncover 7 dreams God uses to expose what you cannot see. And by the end of this journey, you will never approach sleep the same way again. The atmosphere is shifting, even as you hear these words. The question is, will you awaken to what heaven is showing you? Let's step into the mystery together. God's chosen ones. 7 Midnight Drive Eames God uses to expose what you cannot see. Chosen one. When water enters your midnight dreams, it is never a coincidence. It is a thunderclap in symbols, a sacred code etched into the architecture of your soul. Scripture itself whispers this truth. The voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The God of glory thunders. Psalm 29:3. Water is not just an element, it is a language of heaven. But have you ever asked why your spirit keeps returning to it, night after night, as though heaven itself were inscribing hidden blueprints on your heart? These currents are not random, they are structural beams of revelation in the great cathedral of your destiny. Even in psychology, dreams are said to be the subconscious, releasing what the conscious mind refuses to face. Yet for the chosen ones, they are more than that. They are the Spirit's language, flowing like eternal rivers under the floor of creation. If you dream of drowning, fighting to breathe, pulled beneath the waves by forces unseen, you are not merely facing fear, you are being handed a revelation. These waters are like the deep vaults of a cathedral, flooded with echoes. They reveal emotions you never spoke, wounds you tried to bury beneath layers of silence. Much like Jonah swallowed in the belly of the great fish. Out of the belly of hell, cried I, and thou hearest my voice. Jonah 2:2. Could it be that your silent battles are louder in the courts of heaven than your spoken prayers? When currents drag you down in dreams, they unveil the truth. You have been carrying grief like an anchor tied to your chest. And just as physics teaches that pressure increases, the deeper you go, your hidden pains press harder the longer you avoid them, until God Himself calls you back to the surface. Yet sometimes the waters in your dream are still, crystalline, almost holy in their silence. That is not simple rest, it is alignment. A resonance like the steady hum of a tuning fork, vibrating at the frequency of God's will. In these visions, your soul becomes like the river Ezekiel saw, flowing from the temple. And it shall come to pass, that everything that liveth, which moveth, whichever the rivers shall come, shall live, Ezekiel 47:9. Isn't it astonishing that even when everything around you feels unstable, the Spirit confirms your steps through the calm current of your dream? These still waters are the Spirit's architectural blueprint of stability, foundations deeper than stone. Psychologists would call it equilibrium, theologians call it peace that passes understanding. When such waters visit you, they affirm that the scaffolding of heaven is already erected around your life, even if your earthly eyes cannot yet see it. But then there are dreams where the sea turns violent, waves crashing, storms rising, currents dragging you into the unknown. These are not omens of doom, they are thresholds of transformation. Like the disciples on the Sea of Galilee, tossed by tempests until Jesus declared, "Peace, be still." Mark 4:39. Do you realize that such chaos is often the scaffolding of your next breakthrough? A storm in the natural is turbulence in the unseen realm, but transition in the spirit. The ocean's fury is heaven's way of chiseling your character, like Michelangelo striking marble until David emerged. Every crash of the wave is a hammer, every gust of wind a sculptor's strike, shaping you into who you were destined to become. Without storms, no ship ever learns the strength of its mast, and no chosen one ever discovers the resilience of their spirit. Great leaders and thinkers have understood this language of water. The painter J.M.W. Turner, called the painter of light, captured storms on canvas not to terrify, but to reveal the majesty hidden in chaos. And centuries later, Pope John Paul II declared, "Do not be afraid to venture upon the deep, because it is there you meet God's mystery." Isn't it striking how both art and faith confirm that the violent waters of life are not meant to crush you, but to baptize you into new strength? Like Turner's tempestuous seas, your storms may look like madness to others, but within them lies a hidden geometry, a divine order carved in seeming chaos. Theologians often describe creation itself as ordered water drawn from formless void. Could it be your storms are God recreating your life from the void of despair? Even ordinary voices testify to this truth. Maria, a single mother from a small town, once shared that in a recurring dream she saw herself drowning in a dark river. At first it terrified her, but later she realized it mirrored her exhaustion from years of unspoken burdens. Once she sought help. She said, "I finally woke up from the dream, and in life itself." Doesn't this remind us that God sometimes uses dreams as mirrors, forcing us to face what we avoid by day? Maria's story is not grand in history books, but it is monumental in heaven's chronicles, for it echoes what Paul once declared, "When I am weak, then am I strong." 2 Corinthians 12:10. If an ordinary woman can rise from hidden waters into new breath, how much more can a chosen one endure when the Spirit is their lifeline? And history warns us of those who misread the signs. Nero, the Roman emperor infamous for his cruelty, revealed while Rome burned. Ignoring the signs of judgment, his downfall was swift, proving that when heaven sends warnings through storms or flames, those who dismiss them carve their own ruin. Water in dreams, whether calm or violent, is never meaningless. It is heaven's handwriting across the canvas of your subconscious. The same waters that Noah rode in his ark preserved him while drowning the arrogance of the world, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth. Genesis 7:19. How tragic that one man may ride the ark of obedience while another sinks in the flood of rebellion. Do you see how the same element can crown the faithful and crush the proud? Music has hinted at this mystery. In Handel's Israel in Egypt, the choral waves swell like the Red Sea itself, capturing the moment God parted the waters for his people. Exodus 14:21. Each crashing chord is a reminder that what looks like destruction may in fact be the opening of a path no one else can see. Does it not feel as though God uses the very elements of creation as instruments of prophecy? Just as waves carry hidden frequencies across oceans, your dreams carry the resonance of heaven across your spirit, and much like an orchestra, where each instrument plays its part in harmony, your dreams join heaven's symphony of guidance, tuning your destiny with sacred sound. Chosen one, your dreams are not passive echoes. They are active frequencies, architectural blueprints of your destiny. Each wave, each ripple, each storm carries resonance. Physics calls it vibration. Psychology calls it the subconscious. But heaven calls it revelation. Stand tall. Because you are not being drowned. You are being delivered. You are not adrift. You are in alignment with a divine current greater than yourself. Each dream is like a foundation stone laid in the cathedral of your life, forming arches strong enough to withstand any storm. Rise now, for the Spirit is calling you ashore. Do not shrink back from the storm or the silence, because both are sacred summons. Your midnight visions are not fragments of imagination. They are the very corridors of heaven unfolding in your sleep. And the time has come to awaken, to claim what has been revealed, and to walk forward with the authority of one chosen by God. God is shaking loose the old structures inside of you. Chosen one. He is not crushing you, but cleansing you. Not dismantling your worth, but dismantling the walls you built to hide your pain. Water is his scalpel, precise and relentless, carving away what no longer belongs. I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. Ezekiel 36:25. When heaven uses water, it does more than reflect your image. It strips away the masks, showing you where your heart resists his current and where he is preparing to baptize you into a glory you cannot yet imagine. Just as a river breaks through rock after centuries of steady flow, God's Spirit is persistent, shaping your soul until it bends toward his purpose. The riverbed may resist, but the water always wins. Have you felt that same persistence stirring in your dreams? Like a flood that will not be denied? The twist most people miss is this: water in your dreams is never neutral. The way you react to it is a mirror of your reaction to the divine in real life. Deep calls unto deep at the noise of thy waterspouts. All thy waves and thy billows are gone over me. Psalm 40:2-7. Do you panic, trying to dam up the flow? Or do you step into the stream and allow it to carry you where you cannot control? Every ripple is a question, every wave a test. Isn't it striking that God measures your trust not by calm waters but by storms? When floods rise in dreams, they reveal how you face trials in life, whether you cling to fear or let faith keep you afloat. Even mountains fall before rivers. If stone cannot resist, how long will your heart resist before it yields to the Spirit's movement? Dream water is not just a symbol, it is a confrontation, a divine interrogation of your obedience. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. Isaiah 43:2. Have you ever realized that the river in your dream is not threatening you, but waiting for you to answer a question? Will you resist, or will you yield? Nature itself testifies. A tree planted by streams bends but does not break. Its roots drinking strength from the unseen. In the same way, God does not send waters to destroy, but to deepen your roots in Him. Yet many mistake cleansing for cruelty, and in doing so, they collapse like shallow grass swept away in the storm. Could your dream be showing you whether you are standing like the oak by the river, or like the weed carried away by the flood? History warns us of those who resisted the cleansing flow. Pharaoh, hardened in his pride, refused to release Israel from bondage. He saw the Nile turn to blood, the waters of judgment rising all around him. Yet his arrogance blinded him. His armies pursued through the parted sea, and the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen. Exodus 14:28. Have you thought about this irony, that the same water that saved Israel swallowed Pharaoh? The river became both deliverance and destruction, depending on the posture of the heart. In the wilderness, Israel itself later forgot God's faithfulness and murmured despite the streams He gave from the rock. Doesn't it pierce you to realize that the same water can be life for the humble and death for the proud? Chosen one. Stop fearing the flood. Your dream is not a sentence of drowning, but a summons to rise. He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. John 7:38. These waters are not here to end you, but to deliver you into renewal. The flood you resist may be the very path to your promised land. Like Noah's Ark rising above the destruction, your dream is lifting you toward preservation, while others sink in rebellion. Stand up now, for your reaction is your answer, and heaven is waiting. Will you fight the tide until you are weary? Or will you surrender and be carried into the destiny marked with your name? Because if water uncovers the secrets of your soul, then the next dream strikes at the shadows that move around you. Keep your spirit awake. Chosen one. When a serpent slithers into your dream, you are not being haunted, you are being alerted. This is no ordinary nightmare. It is a code from the invisible dimension, a signal designed to pierce your defenses. From the beginning, the serpent was more than a creature. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. Genesis 3:1. If the first lie of history was carried on its tongue, should it surprise you that its silent presence in your sleep still speaks volumes, just as cracks in ancient stone arches reveal pressure long before collapse? The serpent's appearance signals the stress lines of your destiny. It slips in as a whisper, but reveals a storm forming around your life. Isn't it striking that what creeps silently in your dream may roar loudly in your reality if left unchecked? When a snake shows itself, heaven is warning you of what your spirit already discerns, but your mind refuses to admit. Have you noticed how the serpent in dreams doesn't roar, doesn't chase, doesn't announce? It hides, waiting for your vulnerability. If you have been bitten, the venom is not fleshly, it is emotional poison. Their tongue is as an arrow shot out, it speaketh deceit. Jeremiah 9:8. Jealousy, gossip, betrayal injected into you by someone smiling at your face but whispering curses in the dark. The very place of the bite matters, for heaven is precise. If it strikes your hand, your calling, your work, your assignment is under attack. If it strikes your foot, your path, your direction, your destiny is being targeted. Could it be that your dream bite is revealing the exact pressure point the enemy fears most, like venom coursing through veins? Betrayal spreads until it paralyzes purpose unless you confront it with truth. Have you considered that the pain in your dream is God's way of mapping the very battlefield of your life? But what if the serpent never bites? What if it hides under your bed, in the grass behind a loved one, coiled in silence? That is not simple fear, that is surveillance. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. 1 Peter 5-8. The snake in shadow represents the enemy, watching, calculating, waiting for the crack in your armor. Isn't it chilling to realize that unseen hostility may already be circling you, disguised as comfort, as friendship, even as love? In architecture, shadows in a structure reveal where the light has been blocked. In the same way, the snake's hiding place in your dream shows where your defenses are weakest, where unconfessed wounds leave openings. The grass may seem harmless, the bed may seem safe, the loved one may seem loyal, yet each can hide the strike. Could it be that God is uncovering not the serpent itself, but the false security that allowed it to stay close? The Bible itself tells stories of serpents in judgment and warning. The Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many people of Israel died. Numbers 21-6. Israel's complaints unleashed serpents in the wilderness. A reminder that hidden rebellion births open attack. How many of your own murmurs have created the cracks where serpents now slither? And yet, even in that story, God commanded Moses to raise a bronze serpent, and whoever looked upon it lived. Numbers 21-9. Could it be that your dream both exposes the bite and points to your healing if you turn your eyes back to Him? The bite revealed their sin, but the bronze serpent revealed their salvation. Your dream may be brutal in its message, but it is merciful in its warning. Doesn't this show that even venom carries the possibility of victory when your focus returns to God? History shows us what happens when serpents are ignored. Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, chose to hold the asp to her own flesh, and its venom ended her reign. Her empire trembled as her breath failed, for pride blinded her to the trap she embraced. Doesn't her downfall echo the same truth that a serpent tolerated becomes a serpent triumphant? The same applies in spirit. The betrayal you excuse, the gossip you overlook, the envy, you dismiss. All of these coil silently until their strike is fatal. Pride builds no shield, only cracks for venom to enter. How many leaders, families, and nations have crumbled because they thought they could tame the serpent rather than destroy it? The bite never waits forever. Tolerance is simply the serpent's permission slip to strike later. And yet, even ordinary lives reveal this hidden warfare. Daniel, a young carpenter from a small village, once confessed that he dreamed of a snake biting his foot, and weeks later discovered that the very friend he trusted most had been sabotaging his work. He said, "The dream showed me long before my eyes could see it." If God could use the dream of an unknown man to save his livelihood, how much more does He speak to you, chosen one? Through the same symbols. Dreams are not accidents, they are surveillance footage sent from heaven. Daniel's testimony may never make headlines, but it made history in his own household, turning a near downfall into a testimony of deliverance. Could it be that your dream is trying to prevent what your pride might otherwise allow? Every serpent in your dream carries a frequency, a resonance, much like a vibration on a tight string in physics. The snake's hiss is a frequency of deceit, meant to distort your spiritual hearing. The dream does not arrive as random noise, but as a signal, the resonance of heaven, exposing the counterfeit resonance of hell. Isn't it powerful that even silence in dreams can thunder with meaning? Each snake is a cipher, an encrypted message carved into the architecture of your night. And like a building under inspection, your dream reveals where cracks need repairing before collapse comes. Just as engineers test the weak points of a bridge before it bears weight, God allows the serpent in your dream to test where your soul might fail under pressure. Could your dream be not a curse, but a diagnostic? Heaven's warning before disaster strikes. Chosen one. Your dream of serpents is not to paralyze you, but to prepare you. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Luke 10:19. The enemy may watch, whisper, or wound, but you have already been given authority to trample what threatens you. Stand up now, for the shadows around you have been exposed. Do not cower at the hiss in your sleep. The hiss is only proof that you are walking too close to your destiny to be ignored. Rise, for heaven has unmasked the serpent, and it is your time to crush it beneath your feet. The dream is not the prison, it is the key. The warning is not punishment, it is preparation. And the serpent is not your master, it is your stepping stone. Someone you trust may be the very doorway the enemy is using to draw near. Chosen one. That familiar presence, that easy smile, may in fact be the gate through which venom slithers unseen. For Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14. What if the very friendship you thought was sanctuary has become the corridor of sabotage? Dreams expose what daily eyes ignore. And when you kill the snake in your dream, do not minimize that moment. For it is more than a flicker of imagination, it is a declaration of victory in the unseen realm, a silent deliverance, a hidden courtroom where your spirit stood armed while your body slept, and heaven recorded the triumph. Have you realized that in your sleep you can fight battles that prevent destruction in your waking hours? The serpent's fall is proof that heaven trains your hands for war even when your eyes are closed. Doesn't it stir you to think that while others rest in ignorance, you are engaged in victories that echo through eternity? God sends serpent dreams not to terrify you, but to sharpen you, to activate your discernment radar so that blind trust is replaced with holy testing. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God. 1 John 4:1. Isn't it unsettling to think that some of the people closest to you may be assignments of distraction rather than companions of destiny? The dream cuts through charm and exposes character. It reminds you that kindness without truth can be a dagger in disguise. As the hymn, "A Mighty Fortress is Our God," declares, "For still our ancient foe doth seek to work us woe." The serpent dream proves the battle is never simply flesh and blood. How many of your disappointments were in fact disguised deceptions you refused to test? Discernment is the sword that separates friend from foe. But many fear to wield it because it means confronting painful truths. Could it be your dream is heaven's way of placing the sword back in your hand? Because here is the truth most refuse to say. Some smiles carry venom, and some prayers are curses spoken in soft tones. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Psalm 55:21. Isn't it haunting to think that the hand you clasp in agreement may secretly be plotting your undoing? Yet the dream unmasks what polite society demands you ignore. In Shakespeare's Othello, betrayal wears the mask of loyalty until the moment of destruction. Doesn't your serpent dream serve the same function, revealing that masks eventually slip when light shines? These revelations do not come to shame you, but to prepare you. They are alarms, holy sirens calling you to vigilance. And when the mask slips in your sleep, it grants you wisdom for the day. Doesn't this make you wonder how many betrayals you've escaped because heaven pulled the curtain back while you rested? The ordinary testify to this mystery. Lucia, a schoolteacher in a small village, once told how she dreamed of killing a snake that lunged at her hand. Days later, she discovered that a colleague she had trusted was attempting to steal her recognition and position. She said, "When I killed that snake in my dream, I woke up with peace. The battle had already been won." Isn't it powerful that God can use the dream of a quiet woman, far from the spotlight, to save her reputation and protect her destiny? If He does this for the unnoticed, will He not also guard you? Chosen one, with the same vigilance, dreams may seem small, but they shift the hidden balances of power in your favor. Could it be that heaven is proving through ordinary people that no one is too obscure to be defended? That is why, when the serpent returns in your dream, you must not panic, do not run, and do not weep. Stand steady, for the dream is not the danger, it is the diagnosis. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. Matthew 10:16. Ask boldly in prayer, Lord, who in my life is close enough to bite, but silent enough to deceive? For the moment you ask, the Spirit begins to shine light into dark corners. Have you ever wondered how many betrayals you escaped, simply because you were willing to question what others accepted blindly? The serpent dream is proof that you are seen, defended, and warned by heaven itself. Shadows are not sent to paralyze you, but to reveal what lurks there. Doesn't it strengthen you to realize that warnings in the night are weapons for the day? Chosen one, rise. These dreams are not nightmares meant to crush you, but revelations meant to crown you. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. The serpent may hiss, but its mask has slipped. The enemy may coil, but its hiding place has been revealed. Stand up now, because victory is already yours. The dream is not your fear, it is your forecast. Heaven has already marked you untouchable when you discern, when you stand, and when you refuse to run. This is your moment to awaken, to sharpen your spirit, and to crush the serpent beneath your feet. Do not waste another dawn doubting what God has already shown you in the night. Rise with authority, for the serpent's fall in your dream is the sign of your triumph in reality. And now prepare yourself, chosen one, because if the serpent reveals who is hiding, the next dream reveals what heaven is opening. When a door appears in your dream, you are not simply facing wood and hinges, you are standing at a spiritual threshold where eternity meets your present. I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. Revelation 3:8. Have you realized that every detail of that door, whether it opens, locks, cracks, or disappears, is not random architecture, but a prophetic code? The door is heaven's language for transition, and your response determines whether you enter or remain outside. Isn't it stirring to think that while the world sleeps, God uses symbols to announce new seasons of your destiny? Every threshold in Scripture carried weight. Noah entering the ark, Israel stepping through the Red Sea, Joshua crossing the Jordan. Doesn't this prove that the doorway in your dream could be the very line between wilderness and promise? If the door in your dream stands wide open, do not celebrate too quickly. An open door is not merely access, it is assessment. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. Matthew 7:13. Heaven may be testing if you will walk with humility or rush with presumption. Have you ever noticed that the deer that leaps too eagerly into the meadow often exposes itself to the hunter's arrow? Could your dream be warning you that some openings demand caution, not applause? The open door was prayed for by the version of you who barely survived last year. But only the present you can decide if obedience will carry you forward. Just as the sea turtle hatches and must crawl to the ocean through waiting predators, your open door will always attract opposition. The real question is not whether the door is open, but whether you are strong enough to walk through it with discernment. An open door means your next season is available, but obedience is the only key that fits the lock. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. Isaiah 1:19. Isn't it sobering that opportunity without obedience can collapse into ruin? The eagle spreads its wings to soar only when the winds are right. Without alignment, its strength is wasted. Could your dream be heaven's way of showing you that timing matters as much as strength? A door may swing wide, but only those who walk with discernment can endure what lies beyond. Just as farmers wait for the rains before planting seed, the wise wait for God's confirmation before stepping into the new. And perhaps your dream is heaven's whisper, reminding you that delayed steps in obedience are safer than rushed steps in arrogance. Now, if the door is locked, resist the urge to curse the delay. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. A locked door is not rejection, but preservation. Heaven's fortress shielding you from burdens you are not yet built to bear. Doesn't the acorn rest inside its shell until the season of rain calls it forth? In the same way, God sometimes keeps you hidden, locked away, not to deny you, but to prepare you. Could it be that what you call delay is really His design to fortify you for what lies ahead? Even mountains are shaped by centuries of pressure before they rise in majesty. Your waiting season is shaping you in silence. And haven't you noticed that when God finally unlocks what has been shut, the reward often outweighs every year of waiting? But if the door in your dream is broken, fractured, or crumbling, pay attention. It signals that boundaries in your life have been compromised, that forces have tried to invade where God had placed protection. He that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. John 10:1. Isn't it chilling to realize that when doors break, thieves find entry? Nature itself teaches this. When a beehive is cracked, predators rush in to steal the honey. Could your dream be showing that an intruder has already been watching, waiting for your guard to drop? Just as a river overflows when its levees collapse, your dream may be alerting you that spiritual boundaries must be rebuilt. And isn't it true that what is unguarded in your dream is often exactly where your real life is most vulnerable? History gives us a stark warning through a forgotten villain. Belshazzar, king of Babylon, feasted while the gates of his city stood vulnerable. Though his walls were high, his doors were unguarded. And in one night his kingdom fell to the Medes and Persians. Daniel 5. Doesn't his downfall reveal the danger of broken doors that no empire, no matter how mighty, can stand when its entryways are compromised? How many destinies today collapse, not because of lack of power, but because the doorway of vigilance was ignored? His feast ended in handwriting on the wall, and his reign ended before dawn. Could it be that your dream of broken doors is heaven's way of writing on the wall of your soul, warning you before the collapse comes? Chosen one. Your dreams of doors are not to confuse you, but to commission you. Each door is a revelation of timing, alignment, and protection. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Matthew 7:7. Rise with courage, for you are not at the mercy of locks or cracks. You are under the hand of the one who holds the keys of David. Stand up now, for the threshold before you is holy ground. Do not fear the door that closes, for it guards you. Do not rush the one that opens, for it tests you. This is your hour to discern, to walk, and to claim the passage God Himself has prepared. Every threshold is a summons, every dream a command. Will you step back in hesitation, or will you rise in authority and walk into what has been waiting for you all along? Someone has tried to force their way in. Chosen one. This is no small disturbance, it is a breach, a spiritual burglary, a warning signal that someone has found your access point and is already plotting sabotage. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. John 10:10. Dreams of doors shattered or invaded are alarms from heaven, reminders that vigilance is not paranoia, but survival. Isn't it terrifying to realize that the very space meant for your rest could become the target of your enemy's schemes, like cracks forming in a cathedral wall, unnoticed until the entire structure trembles? The dream reveals the hidden stress points of your life. Could it be that what you thought was safe has already been mapped by an intruder in the spirit? Every unguarded entryway in your soul becomes an open invitation for sabotage, just as a fortress crumbles not from its towers but from its gates. Your dream is showing you where the enemy sees weakness long before you admit it. God uses these door dreams to recalibrate your discernment, because not every opening is divine, and not every closing is punishment. For a great door and effect is opened unto me, and there are many adversaries. 1 Corinthians 16:9. Just as a locked vault preserves treasure until the rightful heir arrives, sometimes heaven withholds what your impatience demands. Isn't it sobering that the enemy often disguises traps as opportunities, while God disguises protection as delay, like a river carving its way through rock over centuries? Timing is everything. Too soon, and the current destroys. Too late, and the waters dry up. Could your dream be showing that discernment is not about speed, but about alignment? Think of how the tides obey the pull of the moon. One wrong alignment, and entire ecosystems collapse. In the same way, your life is held in a delicate balance between opportunity and obedience, and not every hallway is meant for your feet. Stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein. Jeremiah 6:16. In dreams, endless hallways often symbolize choices that appear endless but are not all ordained. Isn't it strange that sometimes the abundance of options is more dangerous than scarcity? Psychology would call it decision fatigue, but heaven calls it misdirection. Even in architecture, some corridors are built only for access to maintenance rooms, never for the public. So too, some paths in your life are only detours, not destination. Could your dream be heaven's way of warning you that wandering without guidance may lead you into chambers not meant for your soul, like ants following false trails left by rival colonies? Many waste years chasing paths that never lead to fruit. Your hallway dream may be exposing not possibility but distraction disguised as direction. But here's where it grows deeper. If you are standing before a mysterious door, frozen, unable to move, uncertain of what waits behind it, the dream may not be about the door at all. It may be about you. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1-7. Sometimes you pray for a future that your spirit is not yet prepared to occupy. Isn't it haunting to realize that you can beg for seasons you have no strength to steward? In physics, resonance only occurs when two frequencies align. The dream may be showing that your life has not yet resonated with the promise you are demanding. Could it be that God is not withholding the door, but waiting for your soul to synchronize with its assignment? Like a runner at the starting line who shivers with adrenaline but has not yet heard the gun, your dream shows that timing and readiness must converge. And if you run before the signal, even the strongest legs will falter before the finish. Ordinary lives testify of this truth. Sarah, a nurse from a small town, once shared that she dreamed of standing before a massive iron door, unable to open it no matter how hard she tried. Weeks later, she was offered a promotion that looked glamorous but would have uprooted her family and crushed her peace. I realized, she said, that the door stayed shut because I wasn't ready to pay the cost of stepping through. Isn't it remarkable that God warns even the unnoticed, using their dreams as training grounds for destiny? If he speaks through the night to guard a nurse in obscurity, how much more will he shield you? Chosen one. When you stand at your threshold, every hidden testimony is proof that God is not selective in his warnings. He whispers to the mighty and the meek alike. Could it be that your dream is part of that same mercy, sparing you from carrying a crown too heavy for your current shoulders? So when you see that dream again, the hallway, the handle, the wood that separates known from unknown, do not rush, and do not despair. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Proverbs 3-5. The question is not whether the door exists, but whether you have the faith to walk through what you begged God to send. Isn't it piercing to think that the very prayer you cried for may test your courage when it finally appears? Heaven uses doors to separate the immature from the prepared, the hesitant from the bold. Could your dream be less about entry and more about elevation? Less about access and more about readiness, like a chess master who waits for the precise moment before moving the queen. God waits until every piece of your life is positioned before opening what you think is delayed. And what feels like waiting may actually be a strategy written by unseen hands. Chosen one. Rise. The door is not a wall, it is a witness. Each dream is a threshold waiting to be crossed. Not in fear, but in faith. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lift up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Psalm 24-7. Do not shrink back at the unknown, for your readiness is being forged in the waiting. Stand tall, for the one who calls you has already measured your strength against the season to come. This is not the time to hesitate at the handle. This is the moment to step forward with authority. The breach has been revealed, the hallways discerned, the locked doors understood. Now is your hour to move, to rise, to claim what heaven has set before you. And when you step through, you will discover that the door was never just about entry, it was about transformation. Stay close now. Chosen one. When a baby shows up in your dream, heaven is not speaking about innocence, it is speaking about responsibility. You are not being shown a child, but a seed, a divine deposit wrapped in fragile form. Before I formed thee in the belly I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb I sanctified thee. Jeremiah 1-5. Isn't it extraordinary that what seems small in your arms is destined to shift nations? The baby symbolizes a vision, a spiritual assignment crafted before time itself. And just as Moses was hidden in a basket to carry deliverance for Israel, your dream baby represents something wholly entrusted to you. Could it be that what you cradle in your sleep is actually the blueprint of your eternal legacy? A seed never looks like a forest. Yet, in its silence, it contains nations of trees. Doesn't it amaze you that something so fragile can hold within it the weight of eternity? But do not be deceived into thinking that just because it rests in your hands, it is safe. A seed entrusted must still be fed, protected, and fought for. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22-6. The baby cries because your purpose is demanding attention. Isn't it piercing that your calling can weep louder in the night than your prayers do in the day? Every cry in the dream is a reminder that you've delayed obedience, doubted your capacity, or neglected the very assignment God has placed within you. Could it be that the sound in your sleep is heaven's alarm clock, urging you to rise before destiny withers? As a composer writes, crescendos into silence. Your dream carries urgency into stillness. And like a mother eagle that fiercely shields her chicks from predators, you are being called to guard your vision with the same intensity. And if you dream of a baby abandoned, the urgency multiplies. That is not about motherhood or fatherhood. It is about legacy itself. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Psalm 127-3. Isn't it terrifying to think that you could carry eternity inside you and yet neglect it until it dies? An abandoned child in a dream reflects an unattended spiritual pregnancy, a gift left vulnerable to decay. Like Israel leaving the Ark of the Covenant, neglected in the house of Abinadab for decades. Could your dream be showing that you have walked away from something holy, and just as revival came when David brought the ark back, your dream may be heaven calling you to reclaim what you left behind? Doesn't it sting to realize that neglect can be more dangerous than attack? The seed of greatness doesn't only die from storms, it also dies from silence, from inattention, from delay. Could your dream be showing you that the worst betrayal is when you abandon your own purpose? Yet heaven also confirms that what you carry is no accident. You felt the pressure, the stirring, the divine weight you cannot explain. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. Romans 8:22. Have you noticed how even nature waits for birth while groaning? The oak seed breaks in darkness before it rises into light. The eagle sits in solitude, guarding its fragile eggs through storms until the hatch comes. Could your dream be echoing creation itself, telling you that what stirs inside you is waiting to break open? Michelangelo once said, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved it until I set him free." In the same way, your dream shows heaven carving through your life to release what has always been hidden within. And just as tectonic plates groan before mountains rise, your spirit groans because something monumental is about to be birthed. Isn't it astonishing that pressure is not punishment, but proof of potential? And the enemy knows this. He is not terrified of who you are now. He is terrified of what you are carrying. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Revelation 12:4. That is why warfare increased. That is why your nights changed. Your sleep grew restless. Your spirit heavy. Isn't it haunting to think that the intensity of your battle is proof of the magnitude of your purpose? A farmer once said, after dreaming of a crying baby, "I realized I had neglected the vision God gave me in my youth. That cry pulled me back to finish what I abandoned." If God can stir the heart of a simple farmer in the night, how much more is He warning you? Chosen one, warfare always intensifies near the moment of birth, just as storms rage hardest before dawn. Your battles rage fiercest before breakthrough. Could it be that your dream is heaven's way of showing you how close you are to delivery? So when the dream of a baby returns, do not ask, "What is this?" Ask instead, "God, how do I raise what you just birthed in me?" As newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the Word, that ye may grow thereby. 1 Peter 2:2. Isn't it powerful that the same way an infant needs milk, your assignment requires nourishment from heaven? The dream is not about innocence, it is about inheritance. The baby is your calling wrapped in weakness, waiting for your strength. And as the hymn, "All Creatures of Our God and King" declares, lift up your voice and with us sing, Alleluia. Your dream is a summons to lift up, not to shrink back. Rise now, chosen one, for you cannot afford to abandon what heaven has entrusted. This is the hour to protect it, feed it, fight for it, and carry it until it grows into the destiny it was meant to be. And remember, nations shift, histories bend, and generations are born from what you choose to nurture or neglect in the night. And not every presence comes in peace. Chosen one, there are dreams that whisper and dreams that pierce like thunder. When someone who has passed away enters your night vision, you are not simply remembering, you are being summoned to the threshold where the temporal and eternal briefly intersect. For God speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man receiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night. Job 33:14-15. Isn't it haunting that what seems like nostalgia may actually be revelation? The veil is thin, and in that moment your soul is exposed to messages you could not hear while awake. Like a river that reflects stars at midnight, your dream reflects a deeper reality than daylight could ever show. Could it be that the face you saw was less about the person and more about the message heaven sent through them? Every visitation carries a weight. Some are invitations to healing, others are warnings carved in silence. Doesn't it shake you to realize eternity sometimes borrows familiar faces to speak? It is not always grief resurfacing. Sometimes God Himself speaks through memory, using the familiar to bypass your defenses and strike the core of your being. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with such a great cloud of witnesses, Hebrews 12:1. Maybe they spoke. Maybe they just gazed with meaning. Or maybe silence itself was the language. Have you ever wondered why silence in a dream can move you more deeply than words? When you wake weeping without knowing why. That is not emotion, it is impartation. Just as rainfall seeps into the soil without a sound, God's voice sometimes seeps into your spirit without words. Could it be that your tears are the interpretation? Your very body agreeing with what your mind cannot translate, like an instrument resonating with frequencies beyond human hearing. Your soul vibrates with truths too great for speech. Isn't it powerful to realize that tears can sometimes carry more revelation than sentences? Sometimes these dreams come as closure, healing wounds you never processed. At other times, they deliver prophetic instructions your conscious mind would have dismissed in daylight. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5:4. Isn't it extraordinary that heaven can turn even grief into guidance? These encounters may also be ancestral awakenings, reminders that a generational battle has reached its final warrior, you. Like roots of a tree carrying sap upward to new branches, your dream may show that you are the continuation of those who came before you. Could it be that your dream was heaven's way of telling you the baton is now in your hands? Just as Joshua rose after Moses to lead Israel into the promised land, your dream may be declaring that the fight which began before you will finish with you. Doesn't it stir you that you may be the answer to the prayers of your ancestors? But not every presence is divine. The enemy is subtle, a master of imitation. Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14. Some dreams are counterfeits, crafted to confuse, to detour, to drain. How can you tell the difference? It is not in what is said, but in what lingers when you wake. Isn't it sobering that words can deceive, but residue never lies? If peace, conviction, or clarity remains, heaven has touched you. If fear, obsession, or distortion clings, a counterfeit has slipped in, like a flower that leaves fragrance long after it is gone. True encounters leave holy residue, but counterfeit dreams, like stagnant ponds, leave only a stench. Could your dream be exposing whether you drank from a fountain of life or from poisoned waters? Just as healthy soil produces growth, while poisoned soil suffocates seed, the residue of your dream reveals its origin. Isn't that a test heaven equips you to discern? History offers chilling warnings of those who embraced false presences. King Saul, desperate for direction, turned to the witch of Endor to summon Samuel's spirit. 1 Samuel 28. He thought he would gain clarity, but instead sealed his downfall. Doesn't his story prove that not every voice from beyond is holy, and that desperation can open doors meant to stay closed, like a moth drawn to deceptive flame? Saul mistook counterfeit guidance for truth and was consumed by the very fire he sought. Could it be your dream warns you to guard your gateway, lest you invite counsel that destroys rather than directs? His kingdom collapsed, not in battle first, but in discernment. Isn't it striking that the wrong dream can cost more than the sharpest sword? This is why discernment is your greatest shield. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God. 1 John 4:1. When the dead appear, you must not respond with emotion, but with authority. Isn't it striking that chosen ones are not just dreamers but gatekeepers? The question is not, what did I see? But, Lord, what residue did this leave? Because not every spirit deserves access. Like watchmen guarding city gates through the night, your role is to filter what enters and what is cast out. Could it be that your dream was not only about visitation, but about your training as a guardian of thresholds? And like soldiers who stand post while others sleep, your calling is not casual, it is weighty. Isn't it sobering to realize that heaven trusts you with gates others never even notice? Chosen one, rise. You are not a passive spectator in these midnight encounters. You are the keeper of gates. Whatsoever ye bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be lost in heaven. Matthew 18:18. Stand up now, for heaven has entrusted you with authority. Do not fear the visitor, for your spirit carries the final verdict. Some presences will pass peace into your heart. Others will press fear into your bones, but you alone decide what remains. This is your hour to wake with discernment, to walk with clarity, and to guard your destiny with unshakable authority. Dreams of the departed are not there to weaken you, but to weigh you, not to confuse you, but to confirm who you are. Rise now, For the gates of your soul are holy ground, and only you hold the keys. And now we cross from the invisible to the inevitable. Chosen one. The next dream does not whisper from the past. It pulls you violently out of the present and demands to know whether you are standing on the rock of truth or on an illusion built of sand. Therefore whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. Matthew 7:24. Isn't it terrifying that a dream can arrive not with quiet symbols but with violent impact? A sudden drop, a jolt that tears you awake. Your heart pounding, your breath shallow, your spirit trembling. Could it be that this falling sensation is not chaos but calibration? A divine test of your foundation, like an earthquake shaking a tower to reveal weak beams. The dream strips away what you've trusted to prove what will actually hold. The fall is not always about fear. Though he falls, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Psalm 37:24. Isn't it strange that what feels like punishment may actually be preservation? In physics, when gravity accelerates a body downward, the purpose is not always destruction. It is sometimes momentum for a greater launch. Could your dream be heaven's way of forcing you to release what your fists have clung to for too long? Many collapse not because of what they lost, but because they refused to let go when God already called them forward. Isn't it piercing to realize that mercy sometimes arrives disguised as freefall, like a falcon dropping before it spreads its wings? Your dream is reminding you that descent often precedes flight. Sometimes the dream reveals that you are losing control of something you were never meant to manage alone. A relationship that has drained your spirit. A title that has outlived its season. A role you've outgrown. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Psalm 55:22. Have you noticed how you clutch at positions, platforms, and people long after God has released you from them, like a crumbling balcony that appears stable until the weight is tested? Illusions of control collapse when pressure is applied. Could your dream be warning you that clinging to what God has already moved you beyond is the very reason your arms ache, even in architecture? Weight distribution determines whether a structure stands or falls. Your dream shows that the weight you carry is unbalanced, and heaven is shifting the load back to him. And other times, the dream confronts pride. Pride goat before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16:18. Isn't it haunting that falling dreams often strike those who feel most secure? You may be clinging to platforms built not on faith but on fear, not on humility but on arrogance. Just as leaves resist the wind until they are torn loose, your soul resists surrender until the fall forces it. Could it be that your fall is God's mercy pulling down scaffolds of pride before they collapse with you still standing on top? History whispers warnings too. Nebuchadnezzar, who boasted of his empire, fell into madness until he lifted his eyes to heaven. Daniel 4. Isn't it chilling that the same pride that builds empires also ensures their collapse? Ordinary lives testify to this mystery. David, a young mechanic, once told how he dreamed of falling from a skyscraper. Days later, he lost the job he had idolized. Yet through that loss, he discovered a new business that restored his peace and provided for his family. The fall felt like death, he said, but it was God breaking me free from the chains of false security. Isn't it remarkable that heaven warns not only prophets and kings, but also those hidden in small towns and quiet jobs? Could your dream be the same kind of mercy, sparing you from collapse by removing what you were never meant to carry, like resonance in physics, where two frequencies must align. Your life must match heaven's rhythm, or the fall will keep shaking until you do. Chosen one, rise. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. 1 Peter 5-6. Do not fear the fall. It is not your destruction. It is your repositioning. When the ground shakes beneath you in dreams, stand tall in faith. For what collapses was never meant to hold you anyway. This is the hour to release false supports, to let go of crumbling scaffolds, to stop clutching illusions that drain your strength. Rise now, for heaven is building you on rock, not sand. What felt like a fall was only the hand of God lifting you into alignment. Stand up, for your descent is the doorway to your ascent. And yet, chosen one, sometimes he lets you fall almost to the ground just to prove that his hands never left you. What felt like collapse was actually construction. What felt like failure was divine formation. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he falls, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Psalm 37-23-24. Isn't it startling that your freefall can become heaven's scaffolding? The fall is not meant to break you, but to reset you, to strip away the illusion so that truth becomes your new foundation. Could it be that every trembling heartbeat in the night was God chiseling away the parts of you he never planted, like an architect tearing down unstable walls before building a cathedral? Your dream is a divine reset written in motion. Because here's the mystery most ignore. Falling in a dream doesn't always mean danger. For a just man falleth 7 times, and riseth up again. Proverbs 24-16. Isn't it extraordinary that God counts your rises more than your falls? In physics, descent is often the prelude to propulsion. Even a comet plunges into gravity's pull before breaking free into new orbit. Could your dream be heaven's way of separating you from everything? False ego, pride, control before it collapses under its own weight. The shaking isn't punishment, it's purification. And like leaves torn away in autumn to make way for spring, your identity is being stripped of what was never meant to endure. Doesn't it pierce you to realize that loss can be the very womb of renewal? So the real question isn't, why am I falling? The question is, what have I built my identity on that God is now shaking? Except the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain to build it. Psalm 127-1. Have you noticed how we cling to fragile titles, unstable platforms, shallow affirmations, as though they were bedrock? When storms hit, only rock remains. Everything else scatters like sand in the wind. Could your dream be warning you that your foundation needs rebuilding before your destiny collapses? Like a violin string pulled too tight, pride eventually snaps under pressure. Humility, however, holds perfect resonance. Isn't it sobering that God sometimes shakes us, not to punish, but to realign our frequency with heaven? And when you awaken breathless, confused, shaken by the fall, the whisper of heaven is steady. When everything collapses, I remain your foundation. Other foundation can no man lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:11. Doesn't it comfort you to know that when pride cracks, his presence steadies? When identity shatters, his truth rebuilds. In the words of the hymn, "Be still, my soul." Leave to thy God to order and provide. In every change he faithful will remain. The fall is not the finale, it is the overture. Could it be that the collapse of everything false is the only way you can finally rise as who you were always meant to be. And pride has always carried its warning. Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16:18. Isn't it haunting that falling dreams often strike those who feel most secure? History whispers warnings. Nebuchadnezzar, who boasted of his empire, fell into madness until he lifted his eyes to heaven. Daniel 4. Could it be that your dream is heaven's mercy tearing down scaffolds of arrogance before they collapse with you still clinging to them, like leaves ripped by the wind? Illusions. Resist, surrender, until the fall forces release. Doesn't it stir you that even kings were not exempt from being shaken when their foundations were built on pride? Chosen one, rise. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. 1 Peter 5-6. Do not fear the shaking, for the collapse only exposes what could never carry you anyway. The fall is not the end, it is the beginning of your rebuilding. Stand up, because heaven has declared your foundation unshakable. Stand firm, because what was stripped away was never truly yours. And rise boldly, for the dream that once left you trembling is now the proof that God himself is holding you. This dream does not come with monsters or flames, nor violent fall. No raging chaos, only a suffocating awareness that eyes you cannot see are fixed on you. You turn in the dream and find nothing, yet the air itself grows heavy, pressing against your chest as if the atmosphere were weighing your soul. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Luke 12:2. Isn't it chilling that what you cannot see still knows you, measures you, and records you? You wake up shaken because it wasn't imagination, it was visitation. Could it be that you are already standing beneath a spotlight that shines from realms beyond the natural? This is not paranoia. Chosen one, it is spiritual awareness. Behold, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Proverbs 15:3. You have crossed a threshold, and now you are visible to realms you didn't even know were watching. Isn't it haunting to realize that when destiny marks you, you appear not only in heaven's scrolls but also on hell's radar? Angels record your obedience, while demons analyze your hesitation. Could it be that your dream is confirmation that your life has entered a stage where neutrality is no longer possible? Like a stag in the forest, suddenly aware of predators crouching in the shadows, your spirit senses the weight of unseen observation. Doesn't it strike you that awareness itself is already warfare? Because when you have been marked by destiny, observation is unavoidable. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them. Psalm 34:7. Heaven tracks your growth, because your obedience is ammunition for future victories. Hell studies your weakness, because your failure would echo across generations. Isn't it piercing to realize that your choices are no longer private? They resonate like sound waves through the unseen, creating ripples far beyond your own life. The atmosphere itself becomes aware of you. Creation groans as though waiting for your next step. Romans 8:19. Could your dream be heaven's way of telling you that you have stepped into spiritual visibility, and that your presence has become impossible to ignore, like lightning splitting the sky? Your calling flashes across dimensions where both angels and demons take note. The dream is not a warning of weakness, but a confirmation of weight. You are not being watched because you are fragile. You are being watched because you are dangerous. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Isn't it powerful to realize that surveillance from the spirit realm is proof of your rising authority? Your anointing is increasing, your authority expanding, and both realms monitor your every move because your next decision could trigger a generational shift, like a volcano building silent pressure beneath the earth before eruption. Your spirit is gathering momentum, unseen until release. Doesn't it stir you that heaven and hell alike adjust their strategies based on your posture of faith? And history itself offers warnings about those who failed under observation. Cain, the firstborn of Adam and Eve, was watched not only by heaven, but also by sin crouching at his door, Genesis 4-7. Rather than mastering it, he succumbed, killing his brother and carrying a mark of shame for the rest of his life. Doesn't his fall reveal that being observed is not the danger? The real danger is failing to discern what to do under the weight of unseen eyes. Like fruit ripening too soon and rotting before harvest, Cain's destiny was spoiled because he acted in anger while under spiritual scrutiny. Could your dream be heaven's way of training you never to repeat the mistakes of those who wasted divine attention? Chosen one, rise. Ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people. 1 Peter 2:9. You are no longer invisible to the invisible. Stand boldly, for the very fact that both heaven and hell take notice proves your significance. Do not shrink back under the weight of being watched, for observation is evidence of destiny. This is the hour to walk with authority, to let your next decision resound like a trumpet across realms, to prove that surveillance cannot silence obedience. Stand tall, for the dream confirms you are dangerous, not because of what you lost, but because of what you carry. Rise, chosen one, and move forward, knowing the eyes of eternity are upon you. This dream is not entertainment, it is a briefing from heaven itself. God is showing you that you have become a key player in a war that others are too distracted to notice. You are no longer hidden behind obscurity, no longer camouflaged by anonymity, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Ephesians 6:12. Isn't it striking that your spirit is lit up like a signal tower, shining into realms of both darkness and light? You feel exposed because you are exposed. Your very presence now radiates like a beacon of frequency, picked up in dimensions you never knew were listening. Could it be that the unease you carry is simply the weight of heaven's spotlight resting on you? So the next time you sense those invisible eyes, do not panic. Do not shrink. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee. Isaiah 40:1-10. Isn't it powerful to realize that the gaze upon you is not surveillance of weakness but confirmation of assignment? Just as a lighthouse pierces storms to guide ships to shore, your soul has become an illumination that cannot be hidden. Could it be that God has set you on display, not to embarrass you, but to mobilize you? The dream is telling you, your time to move, to speak, to lead has arrived. And like a soldier summoned to the front line after years of training, you cannot act as though this is an accident. Doesn't it pierce you that heaven's recognition always arrives with responsibility? Because every dream you have received was never random, they were encrypted blueprints, sacred codes hidden inside the architecture of your sleep. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. Amos 3:7. Isn't it extraordinary that what others dismiss as confusion was actually instruction? Each image, each sound, each unexplainable emotion was a divine note, written in the language of mystery. Like resonance in physics, where vibrations align to amplify sound, your spirit has been resonating with heaven's voice long before your mind could translate it. Could it be that every sleepless night was less about restlessness and more about training? Heaven was not silent. He was engraving instructions into your subconscious, and what others slept through. You were chosen to endure. Watch and pray, that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Matthew 26-41. Isn't it sobering that while crowds chase noise, you are being refined in silence? While many drowned in distractions, you were marked by clarity. Your dreams became the classroom of eternity, where every symbol was an exam and every response shaped your destiny. Could it be that God hid his curriculum in night visions so only the awake in spirit would graduate? Like cathedrals built stone by stone in secrecy before unveiling their glory. Your spirit has been constructed in hidden hours while others sleep. Isn't it staggering to realize you've been trained not in daylight applause, but in midnight silence? Ordinary voices testify of this mystery. Samuel, a night shift security guard, once shared how he dreamed repeatedly of standing watch over empty hallways. At first, he dismissed it as stress, but later realized God was showing him that his real calling was spiritual watchmanship, not just guarding buildings. My job taught me vigilance, he said, but my dreams taught me destiny. Isn't it astonishing that heaven chooses even unnoticed lives to prove that dreams are not trivial, they are tactical? Could it be that your own dreams are revealing your true role as a sentinel of eternity? So, do not dismiss what you have seen. Write the vision, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Habakkuk 2:2. Tonight, do not close your eyes as though nothing is happening. Lie down with expectation, with prophetic anticipation. Because chosen ones do not rest like others, they remain watchful even in sleep. Stand now, chosen one. The briefing is complete. You are not called to slumber through destiny, but to rise as a guardian of blueprints written in night fire. This is not the end, it is the awakening. Rise, for heaven is watching, hell is trembling, and the earth is waiting for your voice. Chosen one, now you understand. Your midnight dreams were never random shadows drifting through sleep. They were blueprints from heaven, encrypted codes carrying warnings, instructions, and revelations about who you are and what you are carrying. Water that cleanses, serpents that warn, doors that open or shut, babies that symbolize legacy, falls that reset, presences that observe, and visions that brief you for battle. Each dream was not designed to frighten you, but to forge you. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Revelation 3:22. These dreams reveal what eyes cannot see and what minds refuse to admit. You have been marked, set apart, and summoned for a destiny too great to ignore. So tonight, do not lie down as if sleep is nothing. Enter your rest as though stepping into the classroom of eternity. Every dream may be a scroll, every image a scripture, every silence a sermon meant only for your spirit. And as you awaken, rise, not in fear, but in authority, knowing that heaven has been training you in the night for battles you will win in the day. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1-7. If this message has spoken to you, I ask you to stand with this channel, like, share, comment your testimony, and subscribe so you don't miss what heaven is revealing next. And for those who have blessed this work through super thanks, I honor you deeply. For those who cannot or have not, know this: you are no less valued. Your presence here, your hunger for truth, and your spirit of engagement are gifts beyond measure. May the Lord Himself watch over your nights, guard your steps, and illuminate every hidden thing meant for your growth. May your dreams no longer torment you, but train you. May every symbol, every whisper, every vision in the midnight hour lift you closer to the destiny heaven has already declared over your life. And may you, chosen one, walk in the strength of this truth: you are never alone. For God is with you, even in your sleep. Blessings upon you and your household. Amen.